tonight on this fine August evening here. We've got the creme de la creme, the top of the OTC league, where we have Making Plays versus Superior. And I will be part of the production crew tonight, Cajun Wise Guy, along with me on referee and play-by-play is Clutch Key, with analyst Mr. Bryce T. Guys, how are we doing tonight?
We are doing good here, and it is going to be a great one. We are division playoffs now. This is round number one, the quarterfinals between Making Plays and Superior. But before we start, let's take a look at how these teams got here in their group stages. Making Plays that's going to be starting off in the blue. First game in their Group B division, Astery won. They didn't go so well for them to start off with a 1-2 loss. Next game against Syndicate, they bounced back in a 2-1, and against Voltic, they end their group stage with a 2-1 series. With the 2-1 group stage after beating Voltic 3-0 in the sweep there. Superior had a little more difficult though. Group D, and they all went 2-1, but fortunately enough for them, they won all three games. Meta Alliance 2-1, C Team 2-1, and Six of Spades 2-1, and that lands up Making Plays Superior, both teams of which are very familiar. And now it's time to see which team makes onto the semifinals. Winner plays the winner between Firefly and Freedom Divers. Joining me, my name is Clutch again. Joining me on the color side is Bryce T. What's up, my man?
I'm doing great, Clutch. As you were saying before, breaking down what these teams have gone through before, it's going to be hard to tell which one is right off the gate, which one's, has the upper hand. They're, in different groups, different teams they're playing up against, but both had a contentious season during the open division. So this series is going to be crucial for both these teams to try and put out ahead of each other.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and see if these teams are ready to go. Making Plays Superior again. Superior, big note for them. They were the Season 4 main event champions. So we're going to see, and these teams are ready to play. So it's Season 4 champions, and we're going to see if Making Plays can bounce back and take them out early on. So we've seen these two teams a lot before. So what are we to expect between these two? Because it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of Superior, both from the caster's perspective and just watching these teams live. A lot of very aggressive play from whoever's playing main tank on Superior. We have seen Atmioko playing that Winston or Ryan. We've also seen him on the Widowmaker, which two very vastly different roles that you can be seeing out from a player, but they can work in tandem well with each other. Atmioko, really excited to see what he's trying to bring to the table. On the flip side, Bob is just an insane DPS player. We've seen the Doomfist from him, Genji, Tracer, just anything that he can get his hands on and really just disrupt the backline of the team that he's going up against. So it's really going to be interesting to see what comps they're going to be running to, because it might not be the same comp that they're going to be running at the end of the match.
And biggest thing to note here on both sides as well, in Making Plays side, you have a new player that we haven't seen for a little while here in a couple of months, from the inactive roster brought back onto the active side, and that is Yugi. Again, a player we haven't seen before for a couple of months. I guess if you're an OTC veteran, you know that Yugi's been here before, I guess. But I don't think we've never seen Yugi play before, so it'll be interesting to see on the other side as well. Gohan is usually on the other side of Superior as well. Gohan we usually see play, but it's Sebster that takes over for Gohan here to start an Oasis in the University.
Exactly. Sebster, we have seen him play on the Zenyatta, and that is a very aggressive and high damage dealing Zen. That's really going to be something that both these teams are going to try and capitalize on. Although Yugi's on the Ana, which is definitely a different choice, but we're both seeing Hammond, the brand new player coming out from overtime, or for Overwatch, being brought out on both teams. Both teams running Hammond, but only one is running a triple tank. You're getting a pause early into this match, however. So, just to break down a little bit of what's going on so far, not much damage being thrown out either way. Blue has taken half damage already, but doesn't seem like Superior hasn't caught on by the allowance of Wrecking Ball, so it might change around their comps just a little bit, because what they're running right now isn't the greatest when you're running up against a Hammond who can really get into your backline, into your past the front, just to get it, deal some just disruption damage like a D.Va.
All right, so we're gonna have to pause real quick. Just need to contact somebody. So right now we're gonna bring in Cajun real quick just to analyze what's going on here in the starting lineup. So Cajun, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I like that they brought out Hammond here. I'm going to go ahead and bring the sound down here so we're not being too distracted. Okay. Yeah, I like that Hammond was brought out because it's one of those they call it an OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and then act. And by throwing in this little bit of a wild card, they're forcing the other team to react to something that they didn't quite expect. So that's kind of why we're going through what we're going through right now, is they're kind of questioning, hey, we're being thrown for this loop. Is this something that we can do? But as the head admin, we clarified this long before the match. This was quite allowed. So this is a great play by them, opening up with Hammond to see how Superior is going to be handling this. Now, with a Ryan and a Junkrat, they really have kind of a pretty standard rollout here, so I don't expect them to have too much of a problem with it. Back to you guys.
All right, so here we go. We're off the pause, and already the blue side making plays, getting them strike on the first point after a little bit of a pause just to make sure that everything was working. But right now it's just making plays, doing their job, and Superior's going to be pushed back a little bit here. So already a good first fight for making plays, 10% in.
Yeah, and unfortunately the pause kind of put them in an awkward position. Making Plays was able to strategize on what they're going to do to keep them off this point. They have 23% in their favor now. Hot Sauce knocking Terra down. I believe that leaves the fight 6-5 in Superior's favor. That's another pick. So Superior's in a good position to push on to this point right now after that res.
Both sides going to get up a res. Hot Sauce and Terra, actually both Mercies are going to res up a McCree here. Riptire's going to be brought out down by Cameron, see if they get anybody. Alec down, or Alec actually taking down 3 people. Intense Storp right there. So Alakamon's actually got 4 kills in the past 10 seconds here, and that is working out in their favor, making plays, making the big plays halfway home to winning the first game.
Intense Storp definitely not living up to their name, showing that a Mercy can take down that Junkrat Riptire. Definitely not something you expect to see on that kill feed, but hey, this is a semi-pro league. Anything is possible at this level.
So we're gonna see if Superior can make their way around this. It looks like the Wrecking Ball is making a little bit of trouble team here, but you got to find a way around it since a Wrecking Ball is allowed here in Season 5. So we're going to see how that works out for Superior side. They've got a 1-to-1 trade as Alakmon is taken down as well as Amioko, so both Reinhardts are going to be taken down to start. Supersonic right there to have the res for Amioko side. Deadeye's going to come out. Terra's got a double kill on blue and Intense Storp. That's huge, and that's going to allow Superior to get themselves the point here. Alakmon, the only one left to go on this point. It's probably going to go down actually here. Oh, get some shield, so the stagger is on. Deadeye's going to come out from Hot Sauce, but not before that point is flipped. Superior's got themselves to win on the point.
Yeah, and after they're shutting down the rest of the team, rest of them just trying to die as quickly as possible. The stagger, 91% in Making Plays favor. They have plenty of time. They have plenty of ult. Cameron building up that barrage into Micro Power's Graviton Surge. Perfect setup. Although all they're running up against too is Making Plays is Bob with that meteor strike, which can come really well in their favor. So they're just gonna be poking and seeing if they can build up ults while they push onto this point. 26% in Superior's favor.
Yep. So again, you're gonna see here a little bit of a change. Blue is gonna switch on over from that Hammond, from the Wrecking Ball onto the Dio, then try and get some more damage into the game. But in the meantime, it's already still Superior holding onto this point as Terra takes down Bob. And right now, Terra's going off with his McCree. 2 of the last 3 kills there. And Cameron moves on over to the Pharaoh, which is a great pick for them as well. And so right now, again, Superior holding the point, 45%. And this is turning out in their favor, one flip to another, and Superior's got themselves another good defensive hold.
Exactly. They barely needed to use any of their ult into that push. The Valkyrie came off, keep the team alive, keep Superior going, and the Deadeye was more of just a deterrent to keep them off the point. They still have ult advantage. They got force. They have win conditions. Alec Caban is really the only answer that Making Plays has right now going into this. Yugi holding on to that Nano, seeing if they can probably get a use on it, giving it to Bob or Alec Caban. That's 70%. That Earthshadow's coming in, and no usage, but there's the Nano, and Making Plays is pushing to the point.
Here comes the push by Alec Caban. Gets 2 of the last 4 kills for them. And this is going to be a great play for Making Plays. So now they're going to flip the point with 81% of the clock. The question is, can Superior come back? They have 3 ults to use: a Graviton Surge, a Rocket Rush, and a Transcendence. Although Transcendence is not going to be used in time here. 99%. Nobody's going to get on the point, and the objective is secured for Making Plays. It's 1-0 in their favor. So Superior's got some work to do. They're in the hole. They need to win the next 2 here on City Center and the Gardens to win the game. But Making Plays looking good so far, leading 1-0.
It was unfortunate for Superior during that last push against them. They had win condition. They had the barrage and Graviton, and they were running into a Diva, but a smart Zarya plays aggressive, but you know, doesn't show off when she has her ult, and then runs up to the team and then just shoots it at the ground. It's going to be really hard for D.Va to eat that and be smart enough to defense matrix right when you're pushing it into the ground, and then Cameron just has to go up and press Q. That would have been such a smart win condition for Superior because they're not running into much hit scan other than the D.Va. We are seeing Blue switching back to the Hammond though, so trying to get a little more usage out of it. Definitely a more open map, a lot more places for him to hook around. Just, you know, trying to get some usage out of that.
So Hammond is going to come out for Blue one more time. We saw Blue on the D.Va before, but making Superior is about to have a surprise when Blue comes out with this wrecking ball, but being handled a little bit better here because now Making Play's not allowed to enter into the garden area. So now we're going to have the fight going on here in Denster with the res on Bob to start. So we're back in a 6v6 area. 4 people on the point right now for Making Play, so unless anybody gets lower, it's going to be Making Plays to win here. But it's still Terra, Sebster coming out here with a few kills of their own. Terra getting the good pick on Wrecking Ball, and that's going to allow a good push here by Making Plays. Good push here by Superior. So even with the attempt by Hot Sauce and Alakabon, it's going to be Superior that wins the fight here.
You know, we were talking about Bob on that Doomfist earlier, but that's definitely something that Superior has keyed in on and are very smart about shutting down immediately. He was the first pick on Making Play's side on the initial part of that first push, and then right when that res came through, they immediately shut him down again. Hot Sauce on that McCree already has Deadeye, but so does Terra. Both of those are going to be coming out pretty soon. Supersonic just about to get that Valk, so now Superior has ult advantage. They have the ability to set the stage for this next fight, just as we're about to hit 25% in their favor.
Keep in mind, Blue also moves on over from the Wrecking Ball to the D.Va, so that switches here. Different story than we saw in the first round. Making Plays had their first strike back on the University. Now it's Superior's time to do so. Deadeye's going to come out on the side. I believe that's going to come out from Hot Sauce. Not really getting anybody, so 4 off left to go on Superior's side. 2 for Making Plays. Deadeye's going to come out for Terra's going to get a few shots, but not going to get anything going. Transcendence is going to be popped on the side, as well as the Valkyrie coming out from Supersonic and Sebster on the side of Supersonic, or on the side of Superior rather. That Meteor Strike's not going to come down on anybody for Bob, so it's still going to be a good push here for Making Plays so far, but Superior's going to try their best. Self-destruct's going to come out down the middle, and Transturb and Yugi go down. Both supports are going to go down, and this should be the win for Superior at this point, because now they're going to get down and dirty with them. Terra's going to take down Alakabon, and right there, that should pretty much end the fight. And that is going to be it. So Superior has themselves a good defensive hold. They're 3/4 of the way home to tying this game up at 1.
You know, macro power, excuse me, definitely threw that self-destruct in a perfect position. Knocked out both of Making Plays' healers and just left them hanging out to dry. Alakabon really had no answer to, you know, all by himself. And now they're pushing back from the point. They're rearing to go. They don't have any ult in their pocket, so they have to make sure that they're winning these inner ult battles. Yugi knocking Supersonic out. There's no res for Making Plays now. Blue is free and welcome to go and wreak havoc up on the top ground.
Deadeye's going to come out as well. Not going to get anybody for Terra. Self-destruct upstairs isn't going to get anybody either. Cameron's going to have a rocket barrage. Wonder. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Santa Maria from Cameron. 3 kills there, and that's going to help out Superior. 1 person left on the point. That is Blue with this D.Va who can't do anything. Athena calls team kill, and that will do it. The game tied 1-1. Superior flipping on Making Plays. 100-0. We go to the City Center with a tie 1-1 game.
And you know, Superior definitely had the advantage going into that. They did not give up that point once. It was 100% in their favor. Definitely playing on a more level playing field from after that first round that we saw them, where Making Plays was able to kind of just push them around. They had ult advantage. They weren't really, you know, coordinating all that well together. But then Macro Power and Cameron, perfect job shutting down those healers. 2 ults, knocking out both those healers and Alakabon, which was, again, that Santa Maria called that in perfectly. They shut down Making Plays at last push at that point, and now they're ready to hold on City Center. They're you know, rearing to go. Not much comp changes. Blue is definitely settling on that D.Va. Wrecking Ball is just not working out, my man. I'm sorry.
All right, so here we go. A little bit more aggressive plays here. Superior's going to be the first one to get upstairs, courtesy of Admioko on this Winston, which we know so well that Admioko playing on this Winston can be very deadly at times if the rest of the team is there, so we'll see if that works out in their favor. Right now, it's just a battle upstairs, just a battle of push and shove at this point, see who gets on the point, and this is going to be Superior so far, halfway to the point right now before Bob comes in. Bob steps into the point, and now it's just a push and shove at this point. Admioko all by himself down below, but it's going to be the battle here being won by Superior as the DMAC happens for Blue. This is going to be a win. Again, Terra and Sebster right now, the big playmakers as well as Cameron. So you've got 3 big playmakers for Superior, and it's working out in their favor. But let's not forget the other tank, Miyoko, taking down Alakabon. And this is going to be it for Superior. They have themselves the first strike on the point, 99% away from winning it here 2-1.
And, you know, already Self-Destruct and Deadeye or High Noon are coming out in for Superior. Primal Rage is close, Trans is close, and so is Barrage and Valk. So they have ult advantage. They're only really going to be going up against Yugi with the Nano, depending on who they're going to give that to. But Alakabon is switching off of the Reinhardt and onto the Roadhog, which is an interesting pick because you don't really see 2 off tanks being played at this level. And, you know, that shield utility is really going to not work. You know, it's going to be interesting to play up against because they're going against 2 dives. High Noon coming out as well as Barrage.
Deadeye comes out as Barrage, but keep in mind here, that point was flipped. No, everybody was above the point, so nobody gets down into the point in time for Superior. And Making Plays has to flip, so they got themselves a good flip. But Superior is the one to end it quickly, 16% for them. But Superior's got the clock running.
Yeah, 16%, and also at the cost of 2 of your both of your DPS ults, which, you know, working in tandem, those can work really well together. And you know, that's what they were trying to do. They popped the Deadeye, so now that the Making Plays was forced on the other side of that gazebo, and that's where Cameron just flew off to the side and pressed Q, got a kill with it. But again, they lost 16% of that point. That's 60% that would have put them at about 60% right now. So now, you know, Making Plays, you know, trying to work again the same stuff that they had worked before that worked.
Big self-destruct out there by Macro Power. Gets intense Durban Hot Sauce. In the meantime, Bob is going to try his best to clear out the point here with that Doomfist. Right now, not working in the favor of Seb is going to take that down. And right now, it is the battle being won by Superior. Self-destruct is going to come out in the background as well. That's going to clear out the point. That may give them the, Making Plays the point, but they're halfway home to that. Superior's got it covered though. Yugi and Alakabon, the only 2 left to go on this point, and Yugi's going to get targeted right away here. Gonna try and stay alive, but again, this is Superior's to win, so 3/4 of the way home. So winning this game 2-1, they need to push this though. Making Plays us one more chance at this before we go home.
Exactly, you know, all they're gonna be really running into, okay, well now ults are starting to build up in Making Plays favors. These last few pushes have really been crucial for them to build up these ults. Now it's gonna come down to if they can utilize them well enough, because now it's 96%, 4 seconds left before overtime kicks in. They aren't running into Trans, so they do have the ability to split this.
Big shutdown there by Alakabon. Terra's going to try Deadeye, but there to end it. Cameron also tries the Rocket Barrage. Is going to get taken down, though, after getting a kill. But right now, it's Superior's to win. Overtime clock is going to run. Blue is the only one left to go. Gets Team Act, and it's going to get pushed back all the way. So overtime clock runs, and Superior's got the 2-1 victory here on Oasis.
You know, definitely saw a better, you know, Superior coming out than we had this first round. Alakabon walking away to play the game though, but again, nothing to scoff at. Both of these main tanks have been extremely aggressive, and it definitely comes down to the trust that they have in their backline. You know, the healers, if you know your main healer and your off support can keep you alive, you can be as aggressive and up in the other team's face as you want, and we're definitely seeing that on both sides. Alakabon switching off of that Reinhardt onto that Roadhog. A questionable switch at the time, but it definitely worked out well in their favor because he was able to shut down Terra, popping that Deadeye, which would have been so deadly against Making Plays, even though they still lost the point.
All right, so we're going to bring in our producer/analyst here, Cajun Wise Guy, kind of shed some light on that game and see what he saw on the production side.
Yeah, Making Plays was running 2 main healers versus Superior running a defensive healer in Zen. And to me, that made the difference because when you're running Ana, I mean, it's a classic problem with Ana, right? You don't have mobility. And yes, she was doing some good sleep. She was getting in there with some healing. But the problem is when she went down, you know, a lot of the healing and kit went with her. So, you know, Superior identified that fairly early. I mean, Winston was always harassing in that space, and the Pharah was always looking for the Ana because it was easy pickings usually for it. So that would be the adjustment. If I was making plays, I'd be like, we need a little bit more of a defensive ult. Maybe, you know, if you want to run, you know, Lucio or Zenyatta here, but running 2 main healers comes with, you know, because once everybody's healed up, what do? You know, there's not much for a main healer to do. And if you can't pull off the sleeps and you're not getting the anti-heals in there properly, Ana's utility really loses a lot of value. So other than that, I think Superior did a great job of reacting you know, from that first loss in that first map, and then just turning it around. And momentum is entirely on their side. Now it's up to making plays to really adjust, and we'll see what they roll out here. Back to you guys.
All right. All right, so we're going to bring it back here. Let's see if the teams are ready to go here. So our next map here is Rialto, so it's going to be interesting to see where these teams land up after this one, because control points are usually really hard to win against, especially if you're just going right in the middle. Now you've got an attack defense thing, so what should we be expecting from these two teams?
You know, we did see making plays, you know, Blue trying out that Hammond gameplay, trying, you know, the Superior wasn't stopped much by that ult. And, you know, it's a very deadly ult, especially on 2CP, but also on Escort. It can work out well if you're playing well with a team like that. You know, having a sort of a disrupting tank like Hammond or D.Va works. It can work well with a Reinhardt, but that requires such good synergy and communication with the rest of your team, and especially your main tank, because you need that main tank front line to really be able to figure out where your starting point is. And we weren't really seeing that work out too well in making plays favor, but once Blue switched onto that D.Va, they were able to start moving around a little bit more.
All right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, but then on Superior side, we are seeing, you know, them just sticking with dive on that last point on Oasis that worked out really well in their favor. They weren't really calling out dives as much as you would expect, but they were still getting the utility out of just disrupting the lines where they needed to. They weren't really diving super far into the backline like we've seen at Miyoko being, you know, able to do, but they were still getting the utility out of having those mobile tanks, and they were really able to shape the battlefield in their favor.
All right, so our next map here is Rialto, the Escort map, coming up here in our 5-set map series. And this is going to be interesting because Rialto, not a very popular map. You usually see Rialto up to a lot of Season 4, Rialto wasn't used, and then Season 5 is where Rialto really came out. But this is a map that's usually not popular with people, and is there a reason why, or is it just team preference?
You know, it comes down a lot to you know, people can be stubborn and they don't like a lot of change, and Rialto definitely tries to change up the more traditional Escort map that we see in Overwatch. It's a lot more open. You know, you think of a map that's like you know, Eichenwald. It's not as open as Eichenwald, you know, but the rollouts aren't as clean. You know, it's a lot more condensed to these sort of narrow but long hallways, which really opens up the possibility of running a double sniper or running a Widow as well as an Ana, which we're seeing Alakabon on making play side.
All right, so we're gonna see making plays come out here, and this is gonna be, instead of a Doomfist that we saw from him last game, gonna bring out a Bastion to do some damage. And that may be good because Superior on their side really doesn't even have any shield. The only shield really is going to be from at Miyoko on the side of with their Orisa. And again, the water deadly here in Rialto too. So an Orisa works on both sides. Bob's going to have to back up though because that payload already moving around the first turn. So this is looking good for Superior side right now. It's just a question of how much damage can they output. Right now, Superior's got the answers.
Exactly. You know, they do have a Pharah on their field, so it's really going to put a thorn in making play side. If they can break down that shield, they can just start raining down pressure onto Bob and get him to move around. But the second that he's set up, he is in a very good position to shut down Superior's movements, as we were seeing with Cameron. The rest comes up. Terra knocks out Hot Sauce, so that, you know, we're even now. Superior's up ahead, but they're now pushing making plays back. The problem with a Bastion is once you get disrupted, it is extremely hard to get set back up, and that really works against your favor, which is why we see Bob switching back to the Doomfist and Juka switching to the Reinhardt, running a more meta comp on the defensive side.
Payload point number 1 is going to be already taken in just under a minute and a half. So Superior is going to have themselves 5:10 on the clock to attack on this point. Now that's plenty of time here on the second point, but that's still a lot of distance they have to go. First off, they got to make it around that U-turn, which is very like a big choke point if you're the team from making plays right now. So you got to hold this point if you want a chance, because Superior is looking very dominant right now.
Exactly. You know, we can see that because Superior hasn't made any changes to their comp since the beginning of this fight, and that shows because now they have a lot more ults on the field. They're able to really shape the battlefield in their own favor. You know, like we said before, they are trying to push through this point. We are seeing the Nano coming out on Juka, trying to get as much, you know, utility out of that as possible. Does get the kill on that Miyoko, and that turbocharger is down. That's another ult off the field, and now Superior is just trying to keep them off, you know, away from the payload as much as possible.
All right, so we're gonna have the win here by making plays. Actually, they're gonna have the point. They're just gonna gather up on this payload because right now, you know, Superior has to make it across the bridge. That's the scary part for them. But we know they have 2 ults to go. They have a Rocket Barrage as well as a Whole Hog. Not really a powerful combo necessarily, but if one gets going, the other one could as well. In the meantime, Making Plays has 3 ults, Self-Destruct, Deadeye, as well as a Earth Shatter, so those could come in handy in just a little while. Self-Destruct is gonna come out. Cameron gets 3 kills in that play. Self-Destruct gets 0, and that Whole Hog's also gonna come out for Macro Power. Like I said, if one gets going, the other one will, and it's gonna be the win for Superior.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, that does look like, you know, an over exertion of ults on Superior side. They really had the fight won by Cameron's barrage. You know, the Whole Hog really could have been saved for around this part of the fight, which would have been a really useful part. But again, Superior is definitely showing up. They're definitely bringing their A game. That Earthshatter is coming down and is really in a bad spot for Superior, and you know that looks Making Plays is definitely coming up the winner in this fight.
Making Plays, yeah, like you said, Making Plays coming out. The big winner on this one, the up 2 of the last 4 kills there for them, and that is going to be it for a push by Making Plays. But you can see that payload on the counter, 92.92 meters down the line, and Superior's got very close to go. But as the payload backs up, Making Plays is going to try and back Superior up even further. The question is, how aggressive do you want to be at this point?
You know, especially since you're running into not necessarily like an anti-dive comp, which we have seen a lot. They are running a McCree, but that utility is a lot less than like a Brig or a Junk per se. They are running a Pharah against a McCree, which is an interesting choice. But again, with the sidelines on Rialto, it definitely does work in the favor of having a Pharah against a hit scan on the defensive, which is again why not a lot of people like it. Terra knocking Hot Sauce out from that on that bank, so now they're able to they have the pick. They can start moving in. Terra's got that Deadeye, so now they have the ability to start pushing. But again, all 6 ults on Making Play side. This is their fight to lose right now. They just need to make sure that they're not overcommitting on ults and are using them smartly.
Speaking of which, first dog comes out from Blue. Self-Destruct's gonna get the high pharmacy combo on Supersonic and Cameron, as well as D-Max Macro Power on that team on the Self-Destruct. Macro Power's just gonna kill himself, and the rest of the team from Superior is gonna back up here. Bob just ends up sweeping house, and that is gonna be it. So Making Plays huge. 2 ults only. That Valkyrie and Self-Destruct coming out. Making Plays still has 4 left to go, but Superior's got 5 of their own.
Exactly. You know, we were talking about not overcommitting ults, and they perfectly executed on that. They only needed the Diva Bomb to come out and get those 2 picks, knocking out that D-Mech. And now they have another few seconds in their favor. 1:30 on the clock. Superior does have ult advantage now, but Making Plays is extremely smart with their ult usage, so it's going to be a very contentious push for Superior.
Primal Range is going to come out, as well as a Deadeye from Terra. See if that gets anybody there. Half seconds is going to get anybody there. Transcendence is going to get popped after an Earth Shatter by Juka. And now the Primal Rage from Admioka is going to clear out Juka from the play. Cameron's got a Rocket Barrage so far. 2 kills on Alakamon and Intense Surf, as well as the D-Mech on Blue. Bob's going to try the Meteor Strike, but not really anything happening there. And Superior with another chance at life. They have 1 minute on the clock, but this payload's going to give them an additional minute and a half to go if they can get that there. Juka's going to try and defend this point so far. Tries to contest it. Self-Destruct is going to come out in the background. Does that get anybody? Alakamon goes down. 2 people left to go. Juka and Self-Destruct from Blue also gets Supersonic and Cameron. So again, the pharmacy combo goes down, but it's on the other side this time. And we're going to see here if Superior can make up any dues here. Macro Power is just going to go try and find the water, try and kill himself at that point. And Juka's actually going to get a Fire Strike kill, insult injury there. That's going to back up Superior, but they've only got 1 more chance and it's 20 seconds left to go. Making Plays with a great defensive hold there.
Exactly. You know, they had the ult advantage there, and they used all 5 of them, and they were able to get the point and push it in their favor, but they were still just under 3 meters short. And with 10 seconds remaining on the clock, Intense Surf, the only ult on the field currently, that's being popped at the beginning of this fight. 2 seconds down, overtime is clocking in right now. Superior has to make this push, otherwise that is game over for them.
No more ults on either side to use, so this is going to be interesting. Clock does run, but it's a battle of wits and strength at this point. Primal Ridge is going to come out from Admioka, try and clear out anybody on the point here. And right now it's looking good for Superior. Terra's going to get the D-Mech on Blue, so that is enough to push back a little bit. And how about this? Superior's got themselves a good win coming up here, pushing the payload. How about from death to life? They've got themselves another minute and a half to go for the 3rd point.
You know, definitely an exciting push by Superior. They didn't have ults. They, you know, really were trying hard to get these inner ult battles that we're seeing on both sides are very even, and it really comes down to who can get the first pick on the on that push. And whoever, both these teams are extremely good at capitalizing on being one player above, because just one player can really make the difference, as we've seen with Blue on those self-destructs. You take down 2, and that is the end of that push.
So you're gonna see here 60 seconds left to go, so not much time for them. Only a minute to push this payload around. Severa's gonna play a little more passively here to try and regroup after Bob takes down Terra. So this is the battle for making plays to win here. They're gonna wait a little while, but right now it's looking good for making plays on the defensive side. And now the nano boost is actually gonna come out. Juka's the one to get it, but we'll see what happens there. Deadeye's gonna come out. Terra gets the Deadeye kill on Intense Storm. Deadeye also comes out from Hot Sauce, nothing going there. Cameron moves on over from the Pharaoh to the Junkrat. Great plays. 2 kills on the last 4 for them, and Superior's got themselves a chance at this point. However, their Earthshatter comes in, gets at least Sebster, but Amioka right there to end the rain, so the payload moves even further. 20 seconds left to go, and Superior has themselves a good push.
Exactly, and that payload is moving in Superior's favor. All they're really running into right now is a meteor strike, and Bob has been sort of hot and cold with this Doomfist so far. Really interesting to see if he's able to get any use out of it. 3 seconds left on the clock. We are ticking into overtime as we speak. Amioka only ult in, coming down, but gets the usage out of it that he needs.
Gets the usage, gets the charge on Juka, but Juka's right there to bring it back on Amioka. So the 2 charges working out in Juka's favor right now. Self-destruct's gonna try and clear out the point here. Anybody there is gonna die, and that's gonna be Blue getting a double kill on Macro Power and Sebster. 1 person left to go. Tries to get the res, but Supersonic not there. Clears out the point, and Superior gets the door shut right on them before the museum, and Making Plays has the door wide open. 2 points and a few meters for them to win game number 2.
That Diva Bomb again in a beautiful position. It really left Macro Power in an odd position. 3 seconds left on their personal barrier. That's not enough time to shoot. That Diva Bomb, it ticks down really quickly. 3 seconds definitely is not enough time for you to be able to get your bubble on yourself. That Blue has been on fire with these self-destructs so far this series. Even on this map alone, at least getting 1 kill per use out of it. And Macro Power has been sort of in an odd position trying to out Diva Blue, and we can see why he was trying, pushing so hard to get Hammond on the field, because we've seen how much of an aggressive off tank he is, and it's definitely working well in tandem with Juka, because he knows that as aggressive as he can be, Blue will be there to back him up for it.
Interesting though enough, on both sides, Blue was the first one to use the Wrecking Ball, but ever since that one happened, I guess Wrecking Ball hasn't been a favorite of either of these 2 teams, even though we see a lot of people like in regular style play it. So why is Hammond really not one of those where you want to play inside of the team comp like these?
Especially with what, just we'll take Superior for an example. Extraneous situations aside, on this point especially, Hammond is just not a smart choice. You don't want a very, a super mobile, possible hero that can, more likely to, an inexperienced Hammond is more of a detriment for your team than the team that you're going up against. Because if you're not sure how, his mechanics work, how his abilities are set up, then you're going to end up throwing yourself off of the map more often than not. Especially on a map like this, Orisa Hog works extremely well. You have a lot more possibility for environmental kills, and we are seeing so far Making Plays is going to be running a pirate ship comp, which is exactly what you want when you're running up against a Orisa Hog. You get that Orisa shield set up, and you're golden. You just got to stay set up the entire time.
Pirate Ship combo is going to start off here for Making Plays, so they're going to get this pushed up already around at least the first turn. The Widowmaker here from Terra Pride and get some kills. Blue's going to recognize that right away, though, and he's going to push back this Widowmaker. But again, this Pirate Ship combo from Bob, we saw this at the beginning last time, was shut down before. So who's to say if Superior is going to shut down Bob again? Only problem, Bob's on the attack this time, and he has space to work with. Blue's gonna already get demeched early on though, so not even 40 seconds in and Blue is demeched already. Juka's gonna get a kill on Amioka, so that's 1 tank down, 1 to go on the side of Making Plays. But it's still, again, a push and shove at this point for kills. But right now, it looks like Bob's gonna get pushed back all the way. He's gonna get hooked on. Cameron's right there to take Bob down after that big hook, so Superior's Making Plays is gonna lose a lot of damage, and they're gonna have to back up.
Exactly. Cameron on that Junkrat was definitely an extremely smart choice. They figured that they might be running up against a pirate ship again, and even though, even if that wasn't the case, we've seen a lot of projectile play from Cameron, especially on that Pharah. Deadly barrage is out in his favor, so they're definitely being smart into, realizing what the enemy's strengths are and what they're playing up against, and are working really well together against making plays. And they're having a hard time. They're already switching the comp around. They figured, you can't get set up again. You just got to reset and start over.
Riptire's gonna come way in the background here. Gonna try and get around out. Fire. So that's one support down, one to go on the side. That's Intense Derp so far, but Intense Derp right there to res. So 30 seconds down for a res here on making play side. Superior could take advantage. Valkyrie's going to be brought out here already by Intense Derp, so this could be their push to win here if they get enough heals and power ready to go. Bob's going to try to Doomfist, get in the background, but that's not really going to work in their favor as Cameron takes down Hot Sauce in that battle. Here comes the Self-Destruct majorly come out. That's going to get Zepster, but not enough to take down anybody else. But right now, this is making plays to win here. 155, a little bit of a different story than what we saw with Superior. They had themselves a great push with 256 on the clock, but now 149 on the clock, making plays having a little bit of trouble. Whole Hog is going to come out from macro power. That's going to push them back all the way. And so right now, it's looking good for Superior side on the defensive side. Macro power just going to end Juka's reign, and that will be it. Everybody from making plays is going to reset.
Exactly. Juka was in a tough position right there, especially with Orisa's halt ability. She's not going anywhere. She's planting her feet firmly in the ground and not letting herself be moved anywhere. And that's the worst thing that you can imagine when you're playing Reinhardt, especially when you charge into that. That leaves you open. Macro Power is able to get the hook on him and just shut him down. It's the perfect combo of running against a very aggressive Reinhardt, and it's starting to show in Superior's favor. Zepster has that trans that's going to be, really tough for making plays to run up against, especially when Bob gets that Meteor Strike. They're going to try and figure out when it's a good time to use it. Hot Sauce has that Deadeye, but Cameron's, really aggressive with that Junkrat, is not going to be able to get it, not going to let him get that, especially when he's such an open target.
And the Riptire actually going to come out from Cameron, goes right in front of Juka, but Juka's right there to shield it off, so not much going for that Riptire. In the meantime, though, this Widowmaker working out very well for Superior. Gets the DMAC on blue right now. Deadeye comes on, not getting anybody there. And now Transcendence is going to be popped, but maybe it's too little too late here. Zepster's not going to be able to get 3 of his teammates healed up in time. So this is going to be the win here for making plays at this point. They're going to get it around at least a turn, and they've got themselves point number 1, but with a lot of trouble along the way too. They have 252 to push us all the way up to the point.
Exactly. Even though Superior was able to get the payload to the end point through overtime, that is still 30 seconds possible on the clock. Bob's getting that Meteor Strike on Supersonic. That's going to give them the ability to continue to push this payload even further, because every second counts, especially when you want to try and get this payload to the very end, because that's all you have to do. That is what Superior did. If you can't do that, then that's another game in their pocket. Supersonic was knocked out with that Valk though, so now they're going to be in a tough position when, if making plays decides to make it a very an aggressive push, which they're not, which is smart because they don't have any ults to back them up. And as Cajun brought up earlier, they're running 2 main supports, which is an interesting choice, and they are not opting to switch off of it anymore. Especially when they're running against Zepster on that Zen.
Only 2 off left on the floor here. Cameron's going to bring out the Riptire. Cameron's going to bring out the Riptire. He's going to try and wait for it up top. Try again, goes in the face of Juka, but this time he gets it. And so Cameron's got the Riptire kill on Juka. That's going to force making plays back. And Superior again having the win on the point. 150 on the clock though, but too little to call, or too soon to call here, because making plays could come out at any point. They've got 3 ults coming in.
Exactly. Those 3 ults work especially well together. If you nanoing Bob is what we've seen making plays trying to do earlier. Is, it's a very interesting choice when it comes down to the Ana. But that High Noon's coming out, not getting active just yet, not getting anybody out of that. But Blue does manage to knock Cameron out. That res is going up for Superior. Now they're down to res.
Now they're down to res because, yes, like you said, Cameron is resed up, but let's see how well that works out in their favor right now. But it's plays far. Again, Transcendence coming up, but not before 2 people go down. Deadeye's going to come out, gets down Supersonic, so that's good enough to push here because there's no more chances of a res coming up here for Superior. Meteor Strike's going to come out as well for Bob, trying and clear out the point here. If he get a kill, gets a kill on Subster, and that's going to back up making plays. That's going to back up Superior all the way here, and making plays has themselves another good push. So 220 on the clock here. Different from Superior. Superior had 1.5 minutes to push this up to 70.41 meters. Making plays has an additional 50 to go.
Never seeing Terra switching onto the Hanzo. A smart pick, especially when you're trying to, you're running up in Rialto. There's a lot of tight corridors and a lot of tight sight lines. Works well with the Widowmaker, but especially with that Dragons that just, goes through every single surface in the game. A smart choice on defense. But now we're seeing Juka with that Earth Shatter and Alakabon with that Nano, so it's definitely going to work out well in their favor. They do have 1 minute and 45 seconds, to hold this. it's gonna be interesting to see if they're gonna be able to, especially since they have ult advantage. Not the
Golden box. Golden box of victory right there. The Earth Shatter's gonna come down for Taro. So right now it's in their favor. Juka's gonna bring out actually get the. It might be Blue's got the kill on Cameron, so 3 down, 3 to go here for Making Plays to get the rest of the box. Making Plays has the golden box right in their view. Is it going to be in time though? And that golden box is going to be right there. Making Plays ties up the series at 1-1. We got a good series going on here, folks. The quarterfinals of the semi-pro division ain't going to be a sweep tonight.
I mean, it would be a travesty if this was a sweep. The level of play that we're seeing right now, and especially the communication and synergy that we're seeing on both sides of the field. And here we can see Cameron on that, intense projectile, even knocked out of it, but still, it does not matter. He got those 3 kills, shutting down Making Plays on that push.
And big plays there coming out from Making Plays, and you can see 3 cards out of 4 on the board for them, and especially Juka coming out 35,000 damage blocked. That is huge, especially with a lot of rip tires blocked in that case, and Intense Derp coming out big heals as well. Blue getting a lot of eliminations with that Diva, so big plays coming out from Making Plays, and that's what you need to see coming into this game. So again, Broom put back in the closet. We're not seeing a sweep tonight, so we're ready for a good matchup of at least 4 games coming up in just a little while. Cajun is back here with our producer/analyst, and what did you see in that game?
Well, I did comment earlier they were making they were running 2 main healers, and this was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Ana paid off for them here in spades, because now they did make a couple of mistakes, and here's something that if you're watching Ana play, all right, you nanoed the Rhine. You always have to keep in mind who can the Rhine reach, because the Rhine is big and slow. So when the Rhine got nanoed first point in that large court area, he couldn't reach anybody. It was basically just it was a mistimed nano onto the Rhine. You wait until you're right there at that choke at the end of the first point, because then everybody's enclosed. But when you nano the Rhine out in that open area, doesn't do you any good. He can't reach anybody. Wasted ult. Conversely, you're pushing halfway through second point under that bridge right there. You nano the Rhine. They got nowhere to go. The Rhine bashes their brains up against the walls, and that nano Rhine combination pulled them through to this win, because you saw in this last point here where they're pushed past point 2, they're pushing to the win, and the Rhine gets nanoed, and he goes on a tear and takes down 3 kills by himself with that. So for me, yes, this is just Making Plays. They're running 2 primaries, but they made good use of the nano this time versus Oasis, maybe not so much. So they learned from their lessons there. Hats off to them. Back to you guys.
And so now we're going to go ahead and see Hanamura. So score tied at 1-1. Back and give you the recap so far for those of you just joining us. We welcome you to the OTC, the Overtime Champions match. This is the semi-pro quarterfinals between Making Plays and Superior. Superior back on map number 1. We saw them win on Oasis 2-1 after going down in the first map. Superior wins back on the City Centers and Gardens. Making Plays in the meantime wins on Rialto 3-2. So this is going to be interesting. The score 1-1 here in the quarterfinals. Can't ask for any more excitement coming into the next map.
Yeah, we've been talking about this Ana a lot, but especially on defense on Hanamura is such a popular pick for an Ana, because she gets set up in that back left corner just next to the point, and that is a perfect area for her to just get set up and just hunker down and heal her team from afar. And it's such aggravating to be running up against that, because you're unable to really, especially with a team like Making Plays, you're really unable to push through the aggressive and thick front line that they have been showing throughout this entire series. So definitely going to be expecting to see that from Alakaban or whoever is running the second support from Making Plays. On the flip side, I am hoping to see a lot more aggressive dive from Superior, because they've been showing that off a lot. I really just want to see them just trying to throw the other team through a loop.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's take a look at the lineups coming up in just a second here, and you can see in the defensive mode here for Making Plays, they're going to have them try at defense first off. And assault maps usually see, you know, very standard 2-2-2 on the defensive side, or on on the offensive side. Sometimes you see a 3-3. Making Plays is going to bring up a different strategy though here. They've got 2 turrets to work with to start. Bob is going to bring out a Bastion as well as Blue on a Symmetra. And Alchemon's already going to die already. I guess I don't know what's going to happen there. So we'll see what happens here in the meantime. And so this is going to be interesting to see what these teams bring out here. On the other side, though, Superior's got themselves 2 tries. They have themselves a standard 2-2-2. Gohan's actually going to bring out a Torbjorn as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they pull off for Superior side.
Yeah, you know, I think that Alakaban on that Mercy, or on that Lucio at the very beginning, was just to give his team the speed boost, then get, you know, reset, you know, coming on that Mercy. You don't really need to be at the point at, you know, moment 1. But now Superior is getting rearing to go. Gohan on that Ana, which is, you know, opposite of what I was talking about before on attack, but not a whole lot of main tanks being, you know, holding at that choke, which now Making Plays is using their advantage. They're holding the high ground, which is kind of questionable. You know, they're not really sure what to do. Bob already getting 2 kills, pushing Superior back on that first push. Never mind.
And Miyoko's going to go down, and Hot Sauce is going to add to that kill count. And so this is going to be good for them right now. Macro killed by the hands of Blue. So again, this is going to be Making Plays winning this fight, and Superior on the attack, not getting anything going. But 40 seconds down, still plenty of time to work with. It's just Making Plays has themselves a good first defensive hold.
And you know, they were definitely thrown through a loop. Bob on that high ground, even though they were aware that they were running into a Bastion because of the way that they were setting up, you know, it's very obvious when the team is not holding the front, that front choke, that something else is going on, something different that you're not really expecting is going to be, you know, thrown in your way. So now they know where they're set up roughly. They know what they're running up against. They have the ability to set up where they're going to be pushing. If they want to just go straight to the point, which we are seeing them do, which is smart when you're running against the Bastion.
Very aggressive plays here. Everybody's going to be inside the battle room. So now it's up to them to do the damage and the rest. Hot Sauce gets the kill on Terra. That's going to be good enough. And so we're going to see here Making Plays start to win the fight. 2 kills down. Only a D-Mech down for Superior side rather. From Making Plays coming in. Bob's going to get 2 of the last 3 kills here. The rest of the team is going to sweep up house. So Making Plays, 3 people on fire rather. Yugi, Bob, and Hot Sauce all on fire, and Making Plays doing what they should be doing, defending the point.
Yeah, and already, you know, Making Plays, popping the rally just to give their team some extra armor before this fight. Terra is the only player on Superior side who has their ult. And, you know, the other team has been building them up constantly, and they just have not been getting the kills required to get, you know, the ult use that they need. And they need to shut down Bob on that Bastion. That's what's been burning through their team.
And already, again, going to try and play aggressive, but that's the entire team gone. In just a snap of the fingers. Terra's the only one left to go, and Terra's just going to try and escape at this point because Terra knows that he's the only one left, so going to try and escape there, which is successful. Actually, no. Alakaban bringing out the Battle Mercy takes down Terra, so Superior not finding any answers to Making Plays right now, and they have themselves... Making Plays has another good defensive hold. 90 seconds left to go. Superior's got to find an answer.
You know, now we're seeing Superior trying to change up their comps a little bit more. Cameron on that Mei. I love seeing off-meta picks, especially with a lot of changes that are starting to come into Overwatch now. We're seeing, you know, a little bit unconventional choices, but that self-destruct's coming down, knocking out Miyoko out of the fight. They are in a bad position right now at Superior.
Again, another bad position. Fast try, but again, a fast loss there for Superior rather. So they don't even have the first tick left to go. 60 seconds left for Superior to try something here, but again, Making Plays just has all the answers. Superior's got the dial tone on the phone right now.
You know, it's unfortunate because a lot of the decision that you make when you're running up against the Bastion is you just ignore him and push past him and try and get to the point. But Bob is being really smart, just waiting for them to get on the point and then resetting up. He's in a perfect position, already knocks Cameron out, getting revenge for that ice wall, and Yugi is just cleaning up 3 of the last 4 kills.
Yugi's actually got 4 of the last 5 here, and so the only one left to go is Sebster. Left to go on this point to try, actually Macro Power on this point to try and defend. Yugi's right there to clean up house, so 20 seconds left to go. Superior's had 4 tries now at a fast attempt, but every single one has failed. They've got 1 more try, 10 seconds left to go. They gotta worry about this, they gotta worry about this fast. Now in the final 6 seconds to play. They gotta charge the point now. If there's any time to do it, now's the time. 3 seconds left to go. Can anybody touch it in time? Just in time, gets the overtime clock running, but it's still Making Plays with the win here. Again, every single time there's been a fast attack, it's been on the side of Making Plays to win it. they're going to have themselves another win here. Last one on point is Gohan, who's going to die, and that will be it. A full hold for Making Plays. The door wide open for them, and Superior's got a lot of work to do. Making Plays, one tick, and they've won here on Hanamura.
You know, it just seems like Superior it seems like they were fighting with themselves about how they wanted to go about the Bastion. Because when they decided that, okay, we're going to focus the shield, we're going to focus the Bastion, shut that down, they went in and they couldn't get the utility, they couldn't get the pick that they needed. So they were like, okay, we'll switch up around a little bit, run a faster comp, try and get something that can just get us to the point quickly and keep us alive long enough to just stay on the point and cap it. The problem is, they weren't even able to do that because Bob was smart enough to shut down at Miyoko and macro power. Because once you shut down those tanks, all you really have left is a bunch of floating targets right in your face, right for the picking. And the position that they were set up in was such a good position that they were able to not only focus on the choke, but keep a clear line of sight on the Bell Room at the same time. And that just left Superior in such a bad position because they were fighting a battle on two fronts at that entire push.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and see what the team on Making Plays can do. They're going to have themselves to try at the attack. Meanwhile, Superior has a tall order to deuce. Making Plays was able to do it, but can we tie up the game at 0 apiece here? Because Superior's has to hold this all the way through. No ticks allowed because they have to hold for 4 minutes, no ticks. One tick and it's game over, and Making Plays has the 2-1 advantage. In the meantime, let's take a look at the team comps here. Making Plays on the attack side. Beauty of the game, you can't see what they're picking just yet, so we'll skip on over to the defensive side. Superior going to bring out a 2-2-2 standard. That's Zarya from Macro Power. Macro Power's been playing a D.Va before, but now we get to see a Zarya being played out, and that'll be interesting to see because Terra's also got a Hanzo to be played, so we'll see how that works out in their favor.
Yeah, that Dragon Surge is still season 10 of Overwatch, but it's, again, it's such a deadly comp, especially now that, Zarya's, gotten a little bit of change. Her ult is no longer, it's been shortened by 2 meters, but she loses charge a little bit slower, so it's definitely, more usage out of that player, out of that hero. But we're still seeing Bob on that Bastion, which is an interesting choice, especially when you're running with a Wrecking Ball, but now we see why, because of that teleporter from Symmetra.
Wrecking Ball's going to come in the teleporter right now. Like you said, Bob is going to come in up on top. That's the position you want to be in if you're that Bastion, because you can get all over the place. Macro Power is just waiting underneath for anything to happen. But right now, that's not going to be enough to work with because Superior's got some ways to run if anybody died in that last fight. So right now, everybody above in that bell tower station. And now we're going to see the Wrecking Ball come in, and that is the signal for the rest of Making Plays to come in as well. And Hammond is going to go down, meaning it's a 5-on-6. Bob's going to actually has a great position up on top in the bell tower right now, trying to clear out anybody there. The question is Bob going to get cleared out in time? And this is going to actually, Bob is going to probably go down here because nobody's there to help him out. And actually, Druga takes down Cameron. Cameron's tried to ice to try and solidify themselves on the point, but it's not going to be there right now. Making Plays has to win on the point. 250 left to go, and Bob's going to have a great position again. Druga's with that shield. Right now, all the damage coming on the side of Making Plays. Final chance here for Superior. Only one person left to go on the point. They're halfway down to the first tick. Can they get any more ticks going down? Oh, he gets it in time. The Nano Boost also comes down for Admiyoko as well. This could be their chance to win. The shield's going to come up. Ultimate's going to come out from the Symmetra, working in their favor. 2-2 trade. In the meantime, big damage goes down as Bob goes down as well. But Making Plays has the advantage coming down. Final wall for the May, and this is just a push and shove at this point.
And now we're seeing why Symmetra is being so popular, especially in these high-level plays. That teleporter is what is winning the battle for Making Plays. They're able to just get set up in random positions where you wouldn't expect a Bastion to be. That tank configuration was exactly what they needed to knock Terra out of that Tracer, winning the fight for Making Plays. They only needed to get the one tick, and they executed on that perfectly.
The one tick is all they needed, and Making Plays comes out. Biggest player there was Bob coming out with the play of the game, and we'll see why here in just a second. Gets the kill, even with the May wall in front of him. By the way, still has the vantage point of getting a few kills here. That's 3 kills altogether here. It still has the window to work with, and plenty of space as well. So Bob coming out with that Bastion on both ends. Very deadly. You can see Making Plays sweeping the board entirely. That's how dominant they were. And now Making Plays 1 game away from eliminating the Season 4 champions and moving on to the semifinals against the winner of Firefly and Freedom Divers. We're going to bring in our analyst/producer there, and not so much a short game, but 6 minutes and 23 seconds, but Making Plays looking very dominant.
Yeah, Making Plays is so fun to watch. They've got Bastion action, they've got Orisa action, they've got Symmetra action. They even brought out the Hammond here. I mean, they've got everything, and it's throwing Superior for a loop. They don't know how to handle these non-conventional approaches to Hanamura, should we say. So hats off to Making Plays. I mean, on their, when Superior was trying to push in, they made the right call with the Mei, but they did not execute properly. They kept trying to push a little bit too fast into the choke. The wall kept going into odd angles that it really wasn't, because you really needed to use that white ice wall to protect you while you were on the point, because you got the health to get you to the point. You just couldn't survive that last 10 steps. And of course, the ice wall would go in odd angles because you're getting shot at. It's a very hard thing to do. So Mei right call, bad execution for Superior, but Making Plays was just they were doing odd things. Like I said, they were standing up on the side. They had just a ton of damage. If you were going to get to the point, you're gonna pay for it. And they were all in on these non-standard approaches to this. So Superior's going to have to back up and maybe kind of take a couple of minutes and reiterate what their core competencies are here. Hey, are we going to win with what we do best and force Making Plays to make the adjustments? Or are we going to be caught behind the loop and always playing catch up to Making Plays adjustments? And that might even entail, hey, Making Plays is doing something we're a little unsure of. Take 5-10 seconds, do a disengage, pull back, talk about it, and then re-engage properly. Because Superior, we know if they can get in there with the engagement, they can do the damage. We've seen it, and I'm looking forward here to a great play on Numbani. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Cajun. So we're going to go ahead and see if these teams are ready to 2-1 in the score. And again, for those of you just joining to the NAPC playoffs, this is the semi-pro division between Superior and Making Plays. Superior down in the hole right now, 2-1 after losing Rialto 3-2 and Hanamura 1-0. So Making Plays one win away from eliminating the Season 4 main event champions of Superior. So what does Superior have to do to try and come back here?
They definitely have to start, they have to solidify what their focus is. They either need to focus on the point, or they need to focus on shutting down whichever wonky play Making Plays is going to be throwing at them. Because, you're not expecting a Symmetra on attack, even though the changes that she's been given have been really, they've been in play for a long time. But a lot of teams they don't know what to do when a Bastion suddenly teleports on their high ground, and now it's just raining a bullet hose right above you, or you're running up against a Bastion on attack. As long as this game has been out, that has been such a common thing, a common choice on defense. But still, Superior is lagging behind even the quick changes like that. So they're hopefully going to be seeing them being a lot more aggressive when it comes to taking out Bob or Blue on that off tank, Juka on that main tank. They need to start focusing. Okay, we need to shut down the main tank. Focus on that. We need to shut down Bob on Bastion, Widow. They've been doing a decent job at shutting him down on Doomfist, which I think is why that we're seeing sort of a different hero choice coming out in Bob's favor. So, but luckily on this first point on Numbani especially, it rewards competent and communicated dives. As long as the main tank and the off tank are communicating well together with their DPS and their healers, they're going to get the utility out of those high mobile, very burst damage tanks that Overwatch has. And all Making Plays really has to do is just make sure that they're protecting Juka and Bob, since he's staying on that Bastion, which we have seen Making Plays run time and time again, especially on Numbani last time we saw them play.
All right, so let's take a look. Making Plays is going to have their team pump ready again. Bob brings out this Bastion that was so deadly last time, and they're going to bring him out again, playing with Juko on that Orisa. In the meantime, everybody else pretty much stays the same. Superior side, beauty of the game, you can't tell about anything up until the start of the match, which we have about 10 seconds left to go in the prepare your defenses, prepare to attack phase. And there we go. Everybody changes standard 2-2-2. Gohan on the Mercy as well as Sebster on the Lucio. Try and see if that works out in their favor. Cameron moves on over. We saw Junkrat before. We saw I believe we saw Junkrat before. We saw Farah before. But now Farah's going to be played by Terra Cameron on the Genji.
And, you know, again, not much of a change when it comes down to the, you know, the comps that we've seen them been running the entire time. But we are seeing Terra running that far, which is a smart choice, especially against Bastion. That damage drop-off is really, you know, heavy, especially when you got that burst damage from Farah, as long as that pharmacy can stay up during this push.
So the question is, Bob is protected by that shield altogether. They're going to try and run right away. Bob's got a lot of damage going, though. It's going to get at least D-Mech macro power, but macro power right there out of mech to take down Bob. And this is finally Superior's to win here. They look like a different team altogether, because now they're aggressively pushing. Terra with the Sparrow working out in their favor so far. And right now, as Blue gets D-Mech, that is going to be it for this fight. Superior with a very fast take, not even a minute in. They're going to get an additional 2.5 here. They've got 5.5 to push it up to point number 2 here on Nimbani.
And again, like I was saying before, they had to focus on Bob or Juka. And what they did was they got 2 birds with 1 stone. They immediately dove straight for that went behind that shield, pushed Intense Derp out of position, and once Bob went down, Intense Derp tried to go in for that res, but she was, you know, knocked off of, you know, the high ground, and once, you know, you're out of position for that res is gone. That 30 seconds is now a waste, and now we're seeing Superior pushing up really far past this payload. We're only seeing 1 person on the payload in Superior's favor, and what they're doing right now is they're trying to sort of take a page out of Making Plays books. They're trying to not give them the ability to get set up. They knocked Gohan out, which was for a risky res, but now they're pushing up past this bus, which is a crucial point. Once they round this corner, they have that long sight line, which is going to be perfect for Terra, especially on that far up.
So now we're going to see if this works out in their favor. Valkyrie's going to be used by Intense Derp right away. Self-destruct's going to come down in the background. That is Blue, so advantage for Superior up in the ults. 3 ults left to go. A Dragon Blade as well as a Valkyrie and a Rocket Barrage left to go for Superior's side. Bob has a transformation to the tank, but not much going there. Terra's got 2 kills. Actually, 1 kill on the Intense Derp as well as the T-Mech on Blue, but keeps going on as Blue gets taken down as well. Now the configuration tank comes out for Bob on their side. Gets at least Gohan. Question is, how much more can he go? Hot Sauce gets the Deadeye kill on Amiyoko. Bolt supports down by the hands of Bob. Self-destruct's gonna come out. Not gonna get anybody there, so it is Making Plays to win the defensive hold. Superior's gotta back up and reset.
Yeah, they held that. They managed to hold it, but now they have no ults in their favor. They burned through 4 ults actually for that last push, and now Superior has 3 ults in their favor. Not much else that they can really build up to, but Gohan in that with that Valk and Sebster with those trans is really going to help them out when they're losing the inner alt battles. They have the healing in their favor. Cameron with that Dragon Blade, they don't have much of an answer for it if Cameron goes into their backline with the healing that he needs to stay alive. So now it's Superior's fight to lose up right here.
So Superior, like you said, has the ult advantage. The question is when and if they use those ults in this next fight. Admiyoko's going to start off already charging forward. Tries to take down Blue already. Where's the Bastion? The Bastion's up on top. Trying to get protected here by Juko, who moves on over from the Orisa to the Winston, working out in their favor so far. Bob's got 2 kills on Sebster and Admiyoko. The rally's going to be used by Yugi right now, and this is going to be Making Plays to win. Good discipline, though, on the side of Superior. Only uses that Valkyrie from Gohan, but other than that, Transcendence, Dragon Blade kept, but Making Plays has themselves another good defensive hold.
And, a lot of times you don't think about it, but a Bastion is a really good deterrent for a Dragon Blade. You're not, best case scenario, you manage to get him to pop his deflect, and that is burning through time of that ult that he has. It's just such high damage output. And really, their win condition right now is to knock Bob out of the fight, and then they have free reign to use those DPS ults they have in their bank right now. Self-destruct's gonna come up from Bob, really gonna push Superior in an awkward position behind that bus.
So right now, it's still Making Plays coming out and winning the ready. Superior doesn't have much answers here again. Doesn't use any ult. Terra still has the Rocket Barrage. Cameron with a Dragon Blade, and Sebster with a Transcendence as Juka takes down Admiyoko. In the meantime, Making Plays 3 ults of their own. Juka uses the Primal Rage as well as Blue using that self-destruct. So right now, Hot Sauce with a Deadeye, Intense Derp with a Valkyrie, and Bob with that configuration tank. That's going to be interesting to see what we do in the next team fight here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Cameron's been holding on to this Dragon Blade for such a long time because he's been looking for the perfect time to be able to pop it. But Intense Derp is doing such a fantastic job at, self-preservation, bouncing around the map really quickly. you have Bob on the high ground as that sort of escape, as well as Hot Sauce, and you have these mobile tanks that are really working well in your favor. That tank configuration is coming out.
Speaking of tanks, Bob's gonna come in with a configuration tank, see if that gets anybody. Terra's gonna bring out the rocket rush, does take that Hot Sauce, but not before Bob is right there to end Terra's reign. So this is Superior's to lose, making plays to win here in this fight. Bob's gonna try to get some more damage. Deadeye from Hot Sauce tries to clear on the point. May get at least macro power with that. Yes, it does. And right now, it is Superior with no answers on the phone. They are 5 meters short of that point, but it's not gonna be enough. And making plays again, another good defensive hold on their side.
And they're doing a really good job at you know, staggering micro power, because once you knock Baby Diva out of her mech, he's kind of, you know, without the damage boosting of the Mercy, and you're running up against, you know, basically a full team, you're not going to be able to build up to your ult in enough time, and they definitely won't let you. So your best case scenario is jumping off the map, but even then, they're not giving her that ability. Yugi has that rally, you know, doing fantastic on this Vegeta, which is working extremely well. They're running into, you know, against the dive. Amioka knocked Juke out, though, but trading as Bob, so now they're in a tough position.
Valkyrie is gonna come out as well. This is gonna come out from Gohan. Self-destruct in the background. Does get intense storm. Same time, Blue brings out the self-destruct, gets Gohan, so both mercies go down by the hands of the self-destruct. Only difference, Blue D-Max macro power, and this is gonna be it here. Making plays is gonna have another good hold here. Sebster's gonna try their best, try his best to hold on as long as possible, but Bob right there to shut down Sebster with a configuration tank. And again, this is gonna be making plays to win it. Bob's gonna launch himself up top. 10 seconds left to go. Superior needs to find a way to get to this point. Bob's gonna be right there to try and stop at Miyoko, who's got the only chance at this point. Question is, can anybody get there? That answer is no. So 2 points and 91.8 meters to win, to have making plays win the series. Superior's got some work to do.
Exactly, and unfortunately, Sebster, I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to go, you know, further into making plays as backlines to try and, you know, get any healing around them that he was able to. But unfortunately, when that trans runs out, you are shot out of luck, my friend. You are SOS on all by yourself. Zenyatta is the squishiest of the squishies, and he has no movement abilities, and you really cannot do anything against a setup Bastion. There's no hitbox for you to be able to hit. Even if you manage to 5-ball them with the Discord, that is not enough damage to save you. And unfortunately, when that tank configuration came out, Sebster was you know, stuck in that backline all by himself. And you know, Bob, showing exactly why he's such a competent DPS player, has been able to just get set up in the most fantastical positions to shut down Superior. And now it's really going to come down to if Superior can hold them as well as making plays has held them so far. Otherwise, it is going to be making plays moving on to the next round.
So Superior's got themselves a lot of work to do. Needs to hold it for 1 point, and has only 1 point and 91.79 meters of space. If that doesn't happen, making plays is going to move on to the next round. Plays the winner of, I believe, is going to move on to the winner of their next round. In the meantime, let's take a look at the defensive side. 2-2-2 standard for Superior. We're going to see pretty much everybody play the same thing. Cameron's going to play Junkrat as well as Terra playing a soldier. But big thing, no mercy on the side of Superior, so no chances of res is coming up in just a little while. Making plays, however, 10 seconds left. Can't really say anything, but Bob, again, going to try and play out a Bastion.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing Terra on the soldier, which is an interesting choice, especially since they're going to be, you know, most obviously running against Bob on that Bastion, since so far Superior hasn't had an answer to that, and making plays knows that. So all they have to really do is capitalize on the same play that they did on Hanamura. Hot Sauce on that Symmetra, set up that turret or that teleporter, get Bob through it, and you have win condition right there.
And already you can see Bob being pushed back onto the bus, but a great bionic grenade on the side for the Ana on Yugi's side, but going to be right there to try and heal up the rest of his team. Now it's going to be a teleporter being used here. Bob's going to try and get the damage up on top, which works out so far. That Miyoko's going to go down. Macro Power's going to go down out of the mech as well. And this is going to be the win here for Superior. I'm sorry, this is going to be the win here for making plays because Diva's out. So you've only got 2 people left to go to try and do some damage. That's going to be the Zenyatta as well as this Junkrat, who's not doing much of anything at this point. And right now, or actually Cameron does get the D-Mech on Blue, so I take that back because now Superior's got themselves to win. Configuration tank already being used by Bob, but Bob is going to go down as well. And my apologies, Superior is going to get themselves a win on the point as well, as so close to the first tick, but making plays can't get it off, and Superior finally finds the answer to Bob.
Exactly, you know, that this first point on Numbani is by far and away, my opinion, the most exciting part of this map with the exception of that last payload push, because the possibility for last second holds in the defense's favor is just phenomenal. The last second when you expect, they're able to get in and just shut down the attack so quickly. Macro Power knocking Blue out of his mech and Juka being slept. Now Superior has the upper hand. They have 5 ults in their favor, while while Making Plays only has the 1. It's their fight to lose. That Riptide is coming out, trying to get any usage, but Blue knocks it out of the fight early.
Knocks it out early, so Superior has 1 ult down. Nano Boost is going to be used to try and get some damage done as well. Bob tries to do some damage as well. Admioko's going to go down, so the Nano Boost all for naught there. Superior, 3 ults left to go. Soldier 76 is Tac Visor, Diva's self-destruct, and Sebster to try and save some heals. Meanwhile, Making Plays is going to push up to the point. Self-destruct is going to come out right there. Not going to get anybody. Juka's right there to shield the rest of his team. Tac Visor is going to go out. Terra's got 1. Terra's got 2. But not before Bob's right there to end the reign of Terra. Bob might go down though, Bob's actually going to try his best. Takes down Cameron after leaping up with that tank. And so right now, this is Making Plays to win here. Gets at least the first tick. Second tick is the question. Gohan's going to try and challenge Bob here in just a second. There's a one-on-one combo here. Sebster's going to try and help out here. After that, and that's going to help out actually, because that Orb of Discord gets in, takes down Bob. Blue is also going to go down by the hands of Terra. So right now, again, Superior, another take down. Here comes the Earth Shatter by Juka, however. That's huge. That's 3 people going down. Gohan right there to take over, though. But it's still 1 more point. Halfway down to the 3rd take. Nobody taking it over. And then finally, Blue goes down in the hands of Gohan's Biotic Grenade. So 2 takes down, 1 to go before Making Plays has themselves a point. But Superior making it very hard for Making Plays to get this point.
That was again, very close hold from Superior on that point. They were really only going up against 1 player on Making Play side, and that was Blue on the in the Baby D.Va, and so close to holding it. But Gohan managed to save their team by knocking Juka out of that charge, because that Earth Shatter captured 3 of them into it, and that would have shut them down almost immediately. But we're seeing Bob switching to the Doomfist, definitely a last second choice to try and get as many bodies on this point as possible and keep them there.
Here comes the Nano Boost as well as the Tac Visor comes out from Terra. See if that gets anybody going. Actually, only the Nano Boost comes out on Terra. Question is the Tac Visor. Now Tac Visor comes out. Terra's going to get at least Yugi down, and this is going to be the win for Superior. 1 person left to go on the point. 5 seconds left to go here, and nobody else is going to get on the point. Does the overtime clock keep running? Bob's going to try his best to get on the point, and it's going to get there just in time. So we do have the overtime clock, but it does run. Anybody else getting on the point? That answer is no. Welcome to Game 5. Superior comes back. We're going to Game 5. Lijiang Tower coming up next to determine who moves on to the semifinals.
And again, like I said earlier, it would have been a travesty if this would have been a short game, because what we've come to expect from not only Superior and Making Plays, but this division entirely, the semi-pro, it's exciting the entire time. There is no downtime, no lulls, no boring moments, and we've seen that, especially a Bastion on attack and then quickly switching to the Doomfist just to get on the point as quickly as possible, running the stall comp, running the just getting to the point as quickly. Terra on that Soldier 76 definitely what I thought was an interesting pick. Worked out extremely well in Superior's favor. That tactical visor burned through Making Plays so efficiently, and definitely is what was one of the conditions that won Superior that map.
So 2-2 the score now. There is coming up next map. No chance of a tie. No chance of a draw coming up here. Lijiang Tower is our final map to play. We'll bring in our producer / analyst Cajun Wise Guy, and we're up for another good match.
Oh yeah, it's always exciting to be here with Clutch, because he says, hey, come score. It'll only take 40 minutes, 3 hours later. But these are great games, right? It's going the distance. Now let's get back to the game here. Making Plays initiated with their cheeky maneuvering, right, with Symmetra, and they put a lot of pressure on Superior. It came so close to working, and Bryce was right in that the Soldier worked. Why did the Soldier work? Because the Soldier has mobility. He can always be rotating around to the advantage position to be getting that damage in at the right point at the right time, and it was a good combination with the Ana. So you've got mobility, you've got a good combo with the Ana, especially that last point here. I think Superior did a really good job in that he got Nano first, and then you do a lot of damage as soldier, as nano, non-nano, no visor, just straight up soldier. And as soon as the nano wore off, now you pop visor. So it's like you've got back-to-back ults. You're not giving making plays any breathing room. So I thought that was very, very smart of Superior. So now we're heading into Lijiang Tower here. It's going to come down to Bob. Let's face it, making plays, Bob is the guy. He is that guy that Superior now has to isolate. And how do you isolate him? You probably kick up your mobility a little bit. You do maybe even bust out a Lucio a little bit, but you're going to make a concerted effort to knock him down. And it's going to be up to making plays to enable whether he's going to be running Doomfist, whether he's going to be running Bastion, whether he's going to be running, whatever. Hanzo, he busted out here. So making plays is so hard to predict because I swear they must have like a playbook that's 20 pages deep here because they're breaking out all these oddball comps. But this has been a very, very fun match so far to watch. And predictions here. Yeah, I'm going with Superior. I'm going to go with Superior. I think they've solved the Bob riddle. Back to you guys.
All right, so Superior is the pick for our producer/analyst, but Bryce, can we get a pick from you as well?
Ooh, okay. See, that's an interesting choice here because we've seen very contentious gameplay from both teams so far. It's going to be really rough to make to make this call. I gotta say it's gonna be making plays though. They've just shown time and time again that they are so adaptable and so maneuverable with their comps and their gameplay. They're able to just throw around their team in such a way that Superior has been thrown through a loop. So I gotta go against our producer here though, and I gotta say that it's gonna be making plays that's walking away with this one.
All right, so one vote for making plays, one vote for Superior. Who's going to the bar tonight to celebrate their pick? After this game, we will see. So Cajun picks Superior. We will see making plays being picked by Bryce T. Let's see what happens here. Lijiang Tower, our final map to play between these two teams, and this is very interesting to see. Again, no chance of a tie, no chance of a draw. It's up to these teams to win. And the last time we played a control point was back on Oasis, the control point map. Oasis was being won by Superior 2-1 in their favor. Then making plays comes back in the map in Rialto, wins that map 3-2, and almost had the series in their hands, winning Hanamura 1-0. Back on Numbani though, Superior does get at least 1 point, and that is enough because they hold making plays all the way through, winning Numbani 1-0. The final shot for both of these teams here. Prepare to attack middle garden. We have the gardens coming up here in just a little while.
Well, hey, Clutch, you got to be the tiebreaker here, man. You got to choose Clutch or making plays or Superior right before this push starts.
I don't plan on going to the bars with either of you tonight if one picks the other wrong, so we'll see what happens. We're going to see the attack here aggressively here by Superior, and they're going to at least get up into the point already. Making plays is going to bring out their Doomfist from Bob, so we'll see how that works out in their favor. In the meantime, Cameron working well on the Pharaoh so far in the series. We'll see how well that works for them in this game. Cameron's already got a kill on Hot Sauce to start, so a 6-on-5, but 6v6 as Alekmon brings back Hot Sauce. Already we're going to see a battle here between Terra and Bob. In the background, Bob completely ignoring the rest of his team though, because now Juka's gone down, now Bob's gonna come back into play. Yugi's gonna demech macro power so far, so this is a good fight. Terra takes down Yugi though. This is gonna be a win for Superior. At Miyoko, 2 of the last 4 kills. That will do it for them. Superior first strike on the point. They're 100% on the way to getting this first game here on the Gardens.
And unfortunately, because Bob started to focus so much on Terra, that was a smart choice, but wasn't able to get the pick that he needed. And all that really ended up happening was he left his team hanging out to dry without much damage going in their favor because both their DPSs were knocked out. And that's definitely working in Superior's favor. They're definitely keying in that, okay, the DPS is really what's making plays go off. But 2 environmental kills back to back right there.
That's huge for them. That's huge for Superior. And Miyoko uses that primal range, takes down Yugi, and Sebster right there to take down Juka. Taking, I guess you could say, boop him off the edge, but that is enough to force a reset on making play side. So 1/3 of the way there, Superior's got a good defensive hold on the point.
They're being, again, very smart about ults right here. Hot Sauce knocking down Cameron, that's an important pick, especially since Cameron's just about to get that barrage, which is so important. But they are not able to stop Sebster from getting those boops on making plays aside.
Alekmon was about to go down, but not before. Alekmon is going to get back up. Cameron's gonna use Rock Rush, takes down Alcaban, gets also Blue out of the mech, and this is gonna be another win for Superior. 4 players on fire, the only 2 left on Superior's side not to be on fire. Supersonic and Terra, of which switches on over from the Widowmaker to the Soldier 76. So Superior, 66% there. They've got themselves a chance. One more team fight left, probably maybe one more team fight left on Making Play side before they have to try and flip this.
They have the ults, they have Earth Shatter, and they have Deadeye, which are 2 very deadly comps if you can, or combos if you can put them together. Self-destruct's only going to get at Miyoko, which is still an important pick because now there's no more shields on the field, except now there is because now that Res is coming through.
Terra also gets the Helix Rockets on Blue before Blue can get in the mech, so that's a great pick off by Terra. That forces a backup on Making Play side, but Making Place has no time to reset here. They're going to try the point. This clock is going to go into overtime. The question is, can Making Plays come out with the victory here? It doesn't look like it so far. Terra and Cameron, these 2 DPSs working well so far, have the answers for everybody. Overtime clock is going to run. Nobody gets on the point in time, and that will do it. Superior 100% away from moving on into the semifinals, out to trying to dig themselves out of the hole after going down 2-1, and now they're 100% away from moving on to the semifinals.
You know, we're definitely seeing Terra finding the hero that is really working well with not only his team, but well in comboing against what Making Plays is running against him. Because as simple as a hero from a ability standpoint as Soldier 76 is, he's still able to get the usage out of that that they haven't really been able to shut down before. Now we're seeing him switch on to the Reaper, which is definitely a smart choice on Command Center. A very tight quarters. You get up on the high ground, jump down on the team, just surprise them from whichever way is possible. This is definitely a mobile map that you really want to be able to just continuously fluctuate around or continually be able to move around.
So we're going to see here in the next map, Control Center is here for Lijiang Tower. We're already going to see Bob's got 2 kills. Juka's got 2 kills as well. So it's working in the favor of Making Plays so far, and this may be their fight to win. And pretty much Yugi and Alakwan, the 2 supports, sweeping up house, and that will do it. Making Plays comes out of the shell and wins the fight. They'll have the first strike on the point with all 6 players still alive.
There's a whole lot of blue on that kill feed, and that was not a good sign for Superior. That push was shut down immediately, and now they're being pushed back even further from the point. Abioko is extremely low. It's really important Superior can keep him up because that's even more time burning down, but it's not. 16% in Making Plays his favor. That res is coming up from Supersonic, so they're still gonna be able to make this push, but they are down a res. But they're running up against a no mercy on Making Plays. That Earth Shatter is really crucial for them, though.
Earth Shatter, by the way, being used by Juka. That's 2 going down by the hands of by the hands of Juka's rather, and Blue takes down that Reinhardt in the meantime. So right now, Superior not finding an answer, and Making Plays flips the coin on Superior. 40% of the way there. We're going to see a change here on Superior's side. Admiyoko moves on over from the Reinhardt rather onto the Orisa, so an interesting pick for them. Question is it going to work out in their favor? Ult economy though, Making Plays for ult. Coalescence, Meteor Strike, Nano Boost, 5th one coming up for the Self-Destruct, as well as the Deadeye. 2 ults, Valkyrie and Deadeye only available for Superior so far.
Tight quarters is definitely smart for a D.Va shield or D.Va bomb, but they were able to get hide behind the shield, move out of the way. 66% in Making Plays favor. That Deadeye that is coming out, knocking Alakabon out and making Blue out of their mech. Superior has the push in their favor right now. They just need to be able to knock out Yugi and Hot Sauce.
By the way, a huge shutdown from Terra, who flashbangs Juka before he can use that Earth Shatter, which was huge, and that gets rid of the ultimate altogether. So this is Superior's to win. They flipped the point with 84% on the hands of Terra flashbanging that Reinhardt, and that is a huge flip for them. But keep in mind, Making Plays, 4 ults still left to go. That Meteor Strike, Coalescence, as well as the Deadeye still available for them.
Yeah, Superior is going to be playing catch up for the rest of this fight until they can get to at least 60%, where it'll be a little more even. But ult advantage again is in Making Plays his favor, and they're pushing onto this point cleanly because they're running up against an Orisa Hog, which is very mobile.
Deadeye's gonna come out, gets 2 kills on Cameron and Supersonic, so Pharmacy combo, as well as the Meteor Strike. Deadeye for Terra comes out as well, takes down Hot Sauce, but right now this is Making Plays to win. Bob gets 2 of the last 4 kills for this team, make it 3 out of 5. and that's going to be the point here. 92% left to go. Superior's got one more chance at this fight. But the question is, can anybody get there? Only the Roadhog is the furthest out. 98% won't get there in time. And welcome to Game 3. 100% for making plays. And now we come down. We went to the Garden. We went to the Control Center. Once again, like Bryce and I have seen before, the night market determines our winner here in the quarterfinals.
You know, I just want to mention one very extremely well-timed and quick play from making plays back there. They had Bob push through at Miyoko's shield on Orisa, and then knocked, used Doomfist's left shift ability where he, uppercuts into the air and knocks whoever's in range up into the air and out of the protection of that shield. And all Hot Sauce had to do was, continue through that Deadeye and left click, knocking out the pharmacy, which set the stage for making plays to push through. On Night Market, though, it's going to be interesting to see if we see any comp switches around from what we see on Control Center. Not much being changed. Making plays is just going straight to the point while Superior is playing catch up.
Superior's got to try to find a way here. Doesn't have the momentum. Making plays does have that momentum going into this fight. So the question is, which team is better? Which team has the better willpower? Which team has the better strength? We will see what goes on here. Superior is already fighting for the point here. They've got 3 people on. Make that 4, but now it's going to be making plays trying to come in. Earthshatter ready for Juka. Gets at least Supersonic on the swing of the hammer. And right now Bob comes in with a Doomfist as well. Nobody's been able to stop Bob so far on this Doomfist. Juka's got 3 of the last 5 kills. Bob's got 2 of them as well. And this is going to be the win here for making plays halfway home. And now they're 100% away from knocking out the Season 4 champions.
And what looked like it was going to be Superior's point was easily flipped around when Juka got that Earthshatter in. Extremely quickly, almost just after the point had been unlocked, did he have that Earthshatter, which is just the mark of an incredibly smart and well mechanically versed main tank.
All right, so 18% on the way. Deadeye's going to come out from Terra. Is that going to get anybody, though? Terra actually that to anybody's advantage. Terra doesn't get any shots off either, so that's not going to help the team. So they're 1 all down, none left to go for Superior. Making plays as 2 off. Coalescence is going to be brought out, as well as the self-destruct down the middle. That's going to get Sepster in the background for making plays, so Superior has to fight to win here. 2 sleep down already. The charge is going to come onto, that charge is going to come onto Macro Power, who doesn't have an ult yet. They're going to charge up onto the point. Macro now has it. The Nano Boost is going to come out of Juka. Self-destruct is going to come out down the middle. That's going to get Alakabon in the meantime right now, but it's still making plays, winning the fight. Bob gets 2 out of the last 4 kills for this team in blue, and right now making plays wins the fight. They're halfway home to winning the series.
And, 60% in their favor. They're even on the field when it comes to ults. Meteor Strike and Deadeye against a sound barrier and a barrage. That is, Cameron's going to be in a tricky position to try and get that barrage off while they have Hot Sauce on the field, as well as Bob, because he's very easily is able to just shut that ult down almost immediately with the flashbang for the right click ability that Doomfist has.
20% separates making plays from the semifinals, so we will see how well this works out. Terra uses that. So 1 all left to go. That is a rocket barrage. Sound barrier drops for Sepster. Not going to work in anybody's favor there. Hot Sauce has a double kill with the Deadeye going on, and this is making plays to win. Rocket barrage comes out for Cameron. That's going to get at least Alakabon, but Hot Sauce right there to end the reign. 5% left to go. We're going to go into overtime. Or actually, maybe not overtime. Overtime clock runs. That's going to be it. Making plays ends the reign of the Season 4 champions in Superior, and they move on to the semifinals.
And a fantastic gameplay on both sides. But again, as we mentioned during the break, as Cajun brought up, it is down to Bob and making plays as DPS. They have just, throughout this entire series, shown their prowess and mechanical skill, and especially that it's expected from this level of play in this division. But Sebster, with the Lucio play of the game, interestingly enough, but still, fantastic gameplay on both sides. But again, making plays, taking Superior down a peg and showing who's superior in fact.
All right, well, what an exciting match there, because we brought it down to the final map of Night Market in Lijiang Towers. That went all the way through the process here, and for the final time, we'll bring in our analyst slash producer Cajun Wise Guy here for what is a great match. But I guess Bryce is going to the bar. Cajun has to settle for staying at home tonight.
Yeah, Superior came up ever so short. And for me, I think it came up to the fair play for Superior. They, just like making plays lived and dies by Bob, Superior lived and died by the fair. And just they couldn't get it rolling. He couldn't get in the right plays. He was off on his own a little bit sometimes, but Superior was running, a dive comp with the Pharaoh. So yeah, it's effective, yes, when it works. And I don't, like I said, I think Superior was just all in. If you're gonna beat us, we are here at the last game, and be damned if we are going to force off our comp, because we've had much success through this entire series. And when we first started on Lijiang Tower, the first one that's there is notably a Pharah strong suit. Superior wins. Now we move into control, where it's a lot of indoors, a lot of tight corridors. You've got a Doomfist. Superior kind of really wasn't creative in their attacks. It was, well, we're just going to go straight to point, and you're just running into making plays, constant damage straight into them, and not too successful. So then we kind of go to the market where, yeah, I really believe that Superior. I thought the Pharaoh was gonna do well for them, and initially on that first engagement, it did go well for them. They did have things, and then Juka came up with that huge hero play that kind of saved it for making plays. Had Superior taken won that first fight, and were able to get some percentage point going, this could be easily Superior advancing instead of making plays advancing. So there you have it from my point of view. Overall, great series. Again, for those watching, reach out to our administrators. They are volunteers, and thank them for this great league that they've cooked up here for us while we get to watch great games like this. Clutch Key, Bryce, joining me today. I'm your producer, Cajun Wise Guy. Back to you guys.
All right, so we'll start wrapping it up. But before we do, as we always do here in the playoffs, I'd like to get your guys' opinion. Player of the game on either side, really, because 5 games and you had 14 players all together here that easily could have been player of the game on all sides. But your guys' opinion, we'll start with Bryce here. Bryce, we saw a lot of things, but who would you say is your player of the game in this case?
You're right. We did see a lot of games. We saw a lot of plays. We saw a lot of just fantastic execution on, communication, on, mechanics. I would be, in such an awkward position if I didn't, at least mention other players than the one I'm going to give it to, just because, Overwatch is a team sport, extremely, apparent when we get to play, levels of gameplay like this. I, as much as it is not much of a surprise, I got to give it to Bob from making plays. Just, we mentioned the Doomfist at the beginning of this series, and that's really all we saw from him at the beginning. But it wasn't until we saw the Bastion come out, that really we saw a different side of the damage output that we saw from him, and that is what won Hanamura for making plays, without a doubt. That Bastion play, once you're backed up by your entire team, once your entire team is supporting you on that position, and you have the confidence and the skill and the know-how to be able to execute well on that, that's game over. That is what is winning you matches. That is what is, wins you trophies, wins you series, and that's exactly what we saw from making plays here.
Yeah, from my perspective, for me, making plays, and this is going to be a little odd. I haven't done this before, but for me, the MVP for making plays is the 7th man, which is their coach, whoever was coming up with their team comps, was calling their plays. Because you're right, what did we see? We saw all these very unique approaches to these maps that put a lot of mobility into Bastion and put a lot of thought into their attacks. So for me, it kind of goes to that 7th man, that force multiplier that making plays was able to incorporate into their game tonight. I don't know who he is. He's the unsaid, unseen voice. Maybe they have a coach, maybe they have a team captain, but that's who it's going to. Because for me, their team comps was key in allowing all of their players to kind of really get under Superior and make huge plays.
All right, so that we'll go ahead and wrap it up if we're all set and done, gentlemen.
I've got nothing else to say. Cajun, I will see you at the bar. You got first rounds, by the way.
That's right, I do.
All right, that about wraps it up here for us. Thanks for the presentation of the Overtime Champions community. This was the quarterfinal of the semi-pro division between Making Plays and Superior. Our producer / analyst was Cajun Wise Guy. Our color was Bryce T. My name is Clutch King on the play-by-play. Thank you for watching. Superior was your Season 4 champions, but they won't be able to repeat. Making Plays comes out with a victory, and they move on to the semifinals. We will see you guys in the future. Take care.